Hey, what's up, all you basement dwellers? Tickle My Shoes here, aka Fluffalole, also known as the Hecate King when I play games such as EVE Online. Today in our little alpha adventure series, we're going to be going over a 6 out of 10 DED Sansha site in full alpha mode, and we'll go over the build, which is the Gila. So taking into account, you guys, that when you're using this Gila ship, the ship should be considered in any alpha player's hands almost end game to the cruiser like vessels that exist in EVE Online. What I mean by that is this is a fully skilled alpha account and you only need the 1% CPU implant to complete this build. So right here you can see that I'm full alpha mode, but it is pretty much when it would come to like combat wise and ship wise, almost like up to the cruiser level, it would be considered a fully alpha trained account. So this is considered like an end game Gila build. You could make it with less skills, but it would still probably be as viable. You just wouldn't have as much DPS. With that being said, what we had to do for these sites is we had to make this pure CPU low. CPU low. Most people would put higher DPS. They would put like Tech 2 rapid lights, etc. in here, and then but you want this to be low CPU and this low CPU and the drones to low CPU. What that does is that allows us to sneak on the drone link augmentator 1. Now what you guys need to understand, as a full alpha account, without that, your drone control range in a drone vessel is about 40 kilometers, which means that any NPCs that you come across, you pretty much have to get into mid control or consider their brawl range with like battleships and stuff like that. You have to get in with the 40-30 kilometer mark before you could peel away or keep angle sliding to reduce the DPS using velocity, etc. like that, like speed tanking. So by doing that, it makes it completely harder for the alpha player because you are going to get hit. So adding all of this to the lower CPU, we do lose about, I would say, about 70 to 85 DPS lowering all of this, but in the end it takes us from alpha mode drone control range to omega drone control range, because if we took this off and then quickly went to omega, it would be around 60 65. So all of this allows us to go full omega drone control range, allows us to be able to do kiting and keeping our range away when things get hairy and stuff like that. So all in all, it's a pretty solid build. There is a DPS build where you would take all of this off and you would put drone 2 amplifiers down here, and you would take all of this off going to the 40 kilometer brawl range, and you would put only 3 rapid light missile launchers. So always remember that. So there is a DPS build and you'll see that later, and that'll takes us to about 560 570 DPS depending on your tune's ability. Some around 583 maxing out, and taking into account that these DED sites and these combat sites that you guys will be seeing me do in these upcoming videos, we are fighting Sansha and Blood Raiders, so the resistance type that we want against them is EM and Thermal. Also remembering that with this build, if you go to any of the 4 major zones, which would be Caldari, Galente, Minmatar, and Damar, as long as you don't have negative standings with them so that their NPCs or Concords won't kill you, like their Navy and stuff like that, you can take these down there. And as we see, we have thermal and disposition and the EM ward. You can change these to any resistance and damage type that you're supposed to resist and deal for those sites that you're doing. So all in all, this makes it a pretty solid build, and as long as you're not running this completely, you can stabilize, so you can rep up, get what you need, and then turn it back on, so you allow your capacitor to can never run out. It's pretty easy. But you have to remember that you're still alpha mode, so you have to respect the sites that you're doing, as long as, especially ones that you're exceeding like 4 out of 10 DEDs or high level combat sites, because it gets pretty hairy in there. And some bosses you won't be able to break on your own, as it has a higher like tank, so you can't break it with the Gila. There is some complexes that you guys will see later and stuff like that that you cannot break in this build. You won't even be able to break it in the DPS build, which is almost 600 DPS. So that tells me that when you're trying to blitz sites in a smaller ship and get them done quicker, so that if a player comes in when you're traveling in low sec zones and stuff like that, as long as you're not in high sec. So I would say low sec and null sec if you're brave enough to go out there. when you're doing those zones, it's easier to do it in a faster vessel because if somebody comes in, you can escape versus aligning out with your battleship, etc. like that. Plus, being a battleship in low sec and null sec on actual D-scan makes you a pretty juicy target, so it's easier to just roll around in a cruiser style vessel. Always remembering to take into account, you guys, that this is considered the end game version of an alpha player's cruiser skilled NPC ship, because this thing will make you a lot of ISK as long as you're highly smart about it and you choose risk to reward, meaning that you only risk it when you know there's going to be a good but we can't control the drops, so it means like only go to low sec if you made a bunch of money. And so far we made like a billion plus, so everything in here is just pretty much just icing on the cake. With that being said, let's get right into the DED site.
A few moments later.
Remember guys, this is the Sansha 6 out of 10 DED. We're trying to see if we can accomplish it in full alpha mode. So right now we are facing the Sansha, which is EM thermal resistance that you want to resist against, and the same damage type that you want to dish out, same as in the previous videos. So right now there's not much to do. We gotta pepper the team down, take the gate, so I'm just gonna speed the video up for now. Catch you guys in a few. Alright, so we're going to finish up the last guy here, and you can look at the gates and you can see how this one points down and this one points up. So the difference between these gates is you can go through the downward gate which is actually faster to do if you want to just finish the room and get the sweet loot fastest. But as we're alpha account, we want to find as much treasure as we can, so we're trying to do hard DEDs to get the loot so that we can omega the account. So we're going to take the gate that is pointing up on an upward angle, which is going up like that. It takes a little longer, but it has a chance that we can drop faction loot. So we'll finish this guy out quick, and this will be the gate that we're taking.
A few moments later.
So when you go into this pocket, there's usually like three battleships, and then 40 kilometers away there should be, I don't know, like 12 battleships and a bunch of cruisers. So let's check it out. Remember, you guys were only alpha accounts, so this is hard. So we gotta be on point, everything has to count. So there should be battleships like right beside us. Yep, here they are, 3 of them. Lock them up right quick. Instantly get yourself an exit point. Mine's gonna be that safe spot over there. Get my engine going. Alright, as you guys can see, we have a bunch of targets that we gotta take out. So I think I'm gonna start by going down this section, and the True Creations Park Overseer will be the guy with the loot, which is this dude right over here. He's in the center. He'll have the chance to drop the faction loot. Oh, I'm gonna lose. Keep Jones going. But as we're alpha account, we want all the money, so I'm gonna speed the camera up again while we finish up all the NPCs.
A few moments later.
Okay, that's it for the second room. We didn't manage to hit too good on the loot there, but as we go into room 3, when we take this gate, it'll hold true to the format of the site, as when you spawn in, there's usually a few guys around you, and then like 40 to 70 kilometers off, there's another group of guys. So in room 3, we also have a chance at getting some faction loot, and it will be guarded by the Overseer battleship. It'll be FO Tibbers, Transit Overseer. Possible battleship module drops we can get here. So let's take the gate and go see. And in this DED 6 there is only 4 rooms, so we are 3/4 of the way there. So far so good. Staying true to full alpha form. Alright, what do we got here? There should be a group beside us. Yep, there is. Just like last time, lock them all up. Start lining out. And then we can look for the guy that will have the loot. It'll be this guy right here, FO Tibbers. He'll have the faction module, possibly. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. It's all up to the loot fairy. Okay, with that said, we're just going to speed up the video again. I'll see you guys in a few.
A few moments later.
Alright, he's down. Now the gate will be open, so let's put the drones in. Reload all, head towards the gate. This is the final spawn. So in here it'll be Skominer Effet Bear. He should have true Sansha modules, Phantasm BPCs, and A-type modules. Also when we land there will be 2 cruise missile batteries in the first pocket. Staying true to the site's like repertoire of what it does every time you hit the gate, just like last time. There'll be a small group of guys, and then 40 kilometers away there'll be another group of targets. So let's take the gate here and go check it out. Also remember to keep your scans up, as I am in low sec. So in here we'll land on the initial spawn. Usually what I like to do is take out the batteries first and the smaller vessels. Always making sure when you land to instantly align to something in case you need to get out of there as fast as you can. Let's get our velocity going. And the guy right here, the overseer right here, is the guy that'll have the A-type modules, and he'll allow us to complete the DED site. As we are alpha mode, I want to collect the money for the site, so I'm going to sit here and speed the camera up again as we complete and kill all the guys. But also, if you guys wanted a quick tip, what you can do in some sites is we could launch the drones and everything and kill the main guy that drops the loot, and then instead of killing everyone else, you can warp away and wait a few minutes and come back to your saved location. Make sure you save the site before you warp away, and then all this shit will be deleted as the game will consider the site completed, and you'll just have the loot box there that you pick up. But me, I want to go for the sec status points and for the ISK for our alpha mode to try to grind to omega as we finish all these DED sites, and to see if they're possible, also remaining true to the full alpha form. So with that said, let's speed it back up again. I'll see you guys in a few.
A few moments later.
Alright guys, it seems we didn't have enough DPS to break the main guy's tank, so we quickly warped away to try a different build. Alright, it seems we need more DPS. Quick, Loot Fairy, help us out. Ah, perfect, there we go. Now we can go back to the site. Now we have like over 100 more DPS. Hopefully this is enough to break it, or you cannot complete it in this build.
A few moments later.
Alright, so as you guys can see here, we did not have enough DPS to break the main guy's tank, so what we had to do was we had to go to my in-game channel, which is when Mom said no, and we had to call for aid in the channel. The one person that heard our call for aid was Blade Runner. He too is also full alpha mode, grinding it, so it works out in the end. The only difference is he ends trolling us because he first comes in a slicer. And then comes in a catalyst. Sadly, we weren't able to break his rep, so I had to call in aid. Blade Runner, game, you're first trolling me in a slicer, but now he's here in a catalyst and we're trying to break it. Let's see if we can. Let's check the loot and see what we get. Looks like we're being able to break it now. So it's a learning experience for all you alphas out there, because I did it as an alpha. If you're alone and you're trying to solo it, you need a high DPS vessel to do 6 out of 10s or higher, or you need like a battleship on standby, you know, come here, clear the sites and something like this, and switch to the ship, jump in.
A few moments later.
My heat's only at half. Looks like he's going down. Except for I'm gonna go into a reload pretty quick here. Oh, there he goes. Alright, so we'll check the loot. It only gave us bunk ass shit. Oh, there you have it. Working together, we were able to complete the DED 6 as 2 alpha accounts. I hope that was productive for you guys and build informational. And we'll see you in the next one.